when he stole
that garment.
The garment, the Babylonian garment, and he buried it up under his tent.
Yeah.
Man, wow.
Yeah.
Joshua was like, "What's going on?" God says, "There's sin in the camp. There's sin in the camp."
Scope his ass out.
Got it. Something ain't right. Something tripping around here.
Oh man.
Joshua was like, "Whoa, we're losing the battle, man." What's going on? We're losing the battle.
What didn't happen? We was doing good until.
There's sin in the camp.
Because there was, but see, the point was there were specific instructions. That was the same way the Most High gives us specific instructions. The same way we're supposed to have specific instructions for our women, and they're supposed to follow them intently, like we follow them intently, or there's punishments that come with it.
It's obvious, you know. So Adam and Eve, he said you could eat of any tree in the garden, except for the tree that's in the midst of the garden, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And you know, they couldn't go for that.
Now I want to tie this in back to what we're reading, because you men have been weak in giving these women passes when they don't deserve the pass, man. And that's why it's rampant and out of control, and it's backfired on
you. Hey, you men, you created that monster.
Yeah, you made it all right.
You taught her the evil lesson against yourself.
Yep.
And now you're paying for it.
Of evil,
You know?
Told her, to the scripture tell you to keep thy lips from for her that be in your bosom, basically up close with you, pillow talking and shit. Cut that shit out. I don't mean don't tell her nothing. That just means know what you're telling her and teach her not an evil lesson. Samson is a prime example of teaching somebody an evil lesson against himself. All right, we'll go ahead and go back into that.
Yeah, we're gonna finish this out and close out.
Because you know where this ends at in the truth. So
we're gonna, you know, we did the whole camp getting on the women. Next week, prophecy.
We're done. Yeah,
we
done.
went back to prophecy. But today, you know, the Spirit just had it happen that way. You know.
Verse 27. Backing out at 1 Ezra 4.
Yep.
Many also have perished in error and sinned for woman. And now do ye not believe me? Is not the king great in his power? Do not all regions fear to touch him? Yet did I see him and obtain the king's concubine.
Pat made the king's concubine. Go ahead.
The daughter of the admirable Bardicus, sitting at the right hand of the king.
So she was raised right, but she's a woman out of control. Because she's a concubine, she feels she got the top-notch spot with the king. Go ahead.
And taking the crown from the king's head and setting it upon her own head.
Now hold on a minute. Let's understand something. The moment anyone puts their hands on the royal crown, it's off with their head. You touch it on, if it like when they were bringing in the Ark of the Covenant and who was it, Uriah? Or what was the guy's name? I mean Uzziah, the one that tried to catch it from falling. For even touching it, you got to put the death on the spot. That's what happens if you touch the king's crown. This bitch not only did that, she took it off his head and put it on her own.
Yeah, she slapped her.
And then backhanded, watch.
And taking the crown from the king's head and setting it upon her own head, she also struck the king with her left hand.
So imagine, so you got to paint the situation. So she took, let me get this crown, put it on. He's like, hey, what are you doing? She popped it, backhanded. And watch how he and this is where I said, you men put these women, you created this monster, okay? You put them in position instead of checking them. Right then, off with her, hey, guard, why are y'all not in action? Kill this bitch, what y'all doing? That's what should have been happening. But watch what this is the king, look what he does.
And yet for all this, the king's and gazed upon her.
Yeah, it was a gate. His mouth was wide. I don't believe and to be stunned like, that ain't how you react to something. Let a man hit you in the face, and what a man gonna do? Instant action, right? But this woman put her hand on you, and then what happens? Okay, that shows that you're a well-trained slave, and you're in captivity, not only to Esau, but to these women. Okay? Go ahead, because the first thought of a man is not to put his hands on a woman. You go back 40 years, see, you go back 60 years, that was in the movies.
You go back last week, DMV.
But it wasn't even an often situation.
No.
James Bond.
You know,
James Bond was.
most women knew what time it was.
Yeah.
You know, they couldn't call 911 back then. They kept it in the house. You know, so they didn't really get out of line too much. You know, the movies are painted like as if that was happening in every household. Every man was smacking and beating a woman, color purple syndrome. You know,
silly.
You know, Mister and shit. It wasn't like that in every household, man.
Nah, man.
You know, but women knew back then. Don't cross that line though.
And Jake is bugged out because it's a movie.
Yeah.
The apostles was going into it. They didn't start liking Danny Glover again until Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
Like it's a movie.
Hey, they boycotted Sean Connery for agreeing that, hey, every once in a while, a woman, he said, I don't just hit women.
Right.
But every once in a while, she's out of order. You know, you give her a little smack on the cheek to let her know, hey, wake up, get yourself back right. Fix this shit. You know? That was a healthy thing that was supposed to be happening. There had to be some repercussions for the way a woman acted and talked. Now there are no checks and balances. There are no checks and balances no more. Whatever she say is gold and it goes. And if not, she gonna dial up and make you leave your house and give up half or 80% of your shit. Okay? When you deal with her and you try to put her in subjection and in order, as she should naturally be anyway. The coldest part about all of this is everything that we're telling you about the righteousness that a woman should be in that servitude type of mind state, obedient mind state to their man only, is what's gonna make them happy. It's what the fuck they need. But now these bitches believing a lie. All right, go ahead and wrap that up so we can let's get it.
And gazed upon her with open mouth. If she laughed upon him, he laughed also.
And she laughed it off. He was like, all right, like, what the fuck? She laughed at him. This bitch tripping. No, it should have been off with her head already. Go ahead.
But if she took any displeasure at him, the king was faint to flatter.
Wait. So she's like, hey, what?